Everything you will see today was made possible by a single YouTube search. A YouTube search done by me way back in time. Back in the old time where YouTube was still able to show dislikes and when I was only able to speak in Italian. Just to be clear, this video starts in a slightly different way from the usual, and in case your span of attention is already collapsing, here there is some Subway Surfers, and here there is a timestamp to skip. Do not skip this part. You see, back then I was just getting started with RPG Maker. I was fascinated by being able to create my own game experience, and I mean, you may already understand how that ended up. I never created any game. But that still made me start watching some tutorials from RPG Maker to understand how to do stuff, and from there, even gameplays. Yes, I started watching RPG Maker gameplays even in English. I wasn't able to understand anything, but I was so ecstatic being able to see the product of some work of some random people in the work, not of some crazy company. Until one day, I stumble upon a particular video. Not in English, a Japanese RPG Maker gameplay. A video which, I am almost scared to say, changed my life forever. Not only going from English to Japanese was even harder for me, I wasn't able to understand where to get this game, what was this game about, or even just more simply, the title of the game, because at the time I only used Google Translate and it wasn't really reliable. So several years passed and I was still thinking about that game. But by that time, I wasn't even able to find the video I watched anymore. I was just barely able to remember a couple of parts in it, and in particular, I remembered one character. Nobita from Doraemon. Nobita was in an RPG Maker game. That was my only hint. And from that moment I spent a couple of hours every, 1 or 2 weeks trying to understand what was that game. What is that Pandora's box I have never been able to open? But unfortunately, the game seemed to not exist anymore. It's really bizarre. We all talk about how on internet you're usually able to find everything you're searching for, but this game seemed to not exist at all. Until one day, a friend I had at the time was able to bring me a copy of the game through an email. It almost seems like a creepypasta by this point. And now, I started feeling a headache, and I had to rest. When I woke up, blood was coming out of the walls. Nah, in any case, when I tried to open the game, I got a weird error message. And I think I wasn't even at the end of middle school actually, but I'm not sure. I didn't know what to do. And even searching online, I wasn't really able to find anything concrete, anything which was able to help me. But, I felt satisfied. I may have not been able to play the game, but I had the game. It was different, it was one step closer to completion, but never been able to complete it. But it was there. I could have just kept the game on my PC as a little memory, as a little funny remembrance from my past, and it could have been fine, right? But if there is one thing I became more and more with the passing years, I became stubborn. And I swear to God, I challenge every single one of you to try and to run this game on your PC. The problem is that it was a Japanese RPG Maker game, so what I had to do was to download the Japanese RTP package. Basically, RPG Maker games work differently if they are from America and stuff like that, or if they are from Asia. So you need a specific runtime package for them. I downloaded the runtime package, and it doesn't work! You cannot install the runtime package because your PC is not Japanese. So you just give up, right? Psh, that would be too simple. No, you change the language of the PC so that now you are in Japan, and technically this should work. It still doesn't work, and I think I also had to change the Unicode or whatever that is. I don't even know what I'm doing, guys. I'm just throwing random shit at the wall and hope it works. But even after all of that, the game still doesn't work. So I download some weird program. I think it was called Easy JRPG or something, Easy RPG Maker, whatever, and it finally opens. There are some graphical problems, some icons don't appear, some others are glitched. And then after several days of attempts, it finally works. In Japanese. Do you want to play the game in English? Well, screw you, because I tried using the one translator for RPG Maker 2000 games I found online, and it doesn't work. Once I export the project, it does not start anymore. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna start the game in Japanese. I'm gonna have Google Translate on the side. I'm gonna screenshot every single dialogue, and we are gonna play together the game which now I know it's called Nobita Senki ACE. Just as a disclaimer, translation was still not perfect because it's still Google Translate, so maybe a couple of less important details are lost, or maybe I kinda misunderstood some little things, but still, here it is, the first serious English video on Nobita Senki ACE. The game begins by giving us some context. 20,000 years ago, the four worlds, the material world, the fantasy world, the heavenly world, and the demon world, were the same. There were no differences between people. Everyone worked on the same land and cooperated to build a better future. That is, until the Demon War happened. The search for power brought a group of evil lords to disseminate chaos among the citizens. The world was collapsing. To prevent total annihilation, people followed the gods' orders and tore the four worlds apart. These created some time gaps between them. Time gaps were used as prisons for those evil-minded people. And so, time passed. And now, just when people had forgotten about the Demon War, connections between different worlds which shouldn't be happening are manifesting themselves again. And God only knows what could happen if whatever is sealed inside of the time gap was able to break free. And with that, we jump straight up into modern times, where we can see Valkyrie talking to the goddess Ishtar. Ishtar is talking about the aforementioned problem, the possibility of another great war. Since Valkyrie is her most loyal servant, she will have to go through the other kingdoms and spread the message. But before continuing, I have to stop you right there. I want to do something very special with this video. Since the core of the game is having a very diverse cast of characters, which almost entirely is taken from a particular video game we will mention later, I want to give each character you will see a proper introduction. So, Valkyrie. New character introduction. Valkyrie comes from a very old video game called Valkyrie no Boken Toki no Kagi Densetsu. I think I just killed a couple of Japanese people with my pronunciation, but in any case, the story is very simple in this case. Defeat the evil guy called Zona and restore peace. You have to go around the world, defeat enemies, get money, get new equipment for your character, which is visibly seen on the screen, and you even mount a whale at one point to move through the sea. This release was very important for Namco. They saw the potential in the Famicom, and in that moment they were only doing ports of video games previously made. That's why, being inspired by The Legend of Zelda, Valkyrie no Boten was born. And that's the end of our first introduction. While I was talking, space-traveling soldiers interrupted Valkyrie and Ishtar. The soldiers recognized Valkyrie as a savior of the world together with a certain Reiji Arizu. And some of you may have some gears turning in their heads hearing this name, Reiji Arizu. There is gonna be time. They are here because they want to capture Ishtar. She is the first material required to merge the worlds once again. And despite being a goddess with infinite power, they did not come unprepared. Their special technology completely nullifies magic. Ishtar cannot do anything. The only thing Valkyrie can do is to bring the news to the other kingdoms. Someone is trying to reunite the four maidens to merge the worlds again. And that's when everything seems lost, that a little ray of hope opens up for Valkyrie. Let's go! You have no idea, I was so hyped to see Nobita! Nobita is introduced as a powerful menace for the organization we have in front of our eyes. And that's why they bring out their ace, Special Force Aegis. Stronger soldiers coming from a technology of the future. Compared to those, humans are nothing. Unfortunately, there is not much we can do against all of them. And so, we have to escape, and Ishtar is lost forever. And behold, gameplay! The game plays out as a perfectly normal turn-based RPG. You have random encounters, you can defeat enemies for money and experience, experience lets you level up, and by leveling up, you gain more powerful abilities and more stats. And the thing I want to say now, and I'm gonna repeat even more later, is that leveling up does not really increase your powers that much, and I appreciate it. It means you cannot just grind your way out of a problem, you have to learn the opponent or learn which strategy you want to do, because there are some minor strategies to do even in here, and even if the skill pool is not that much expanded, it opens up the space for some experimentation in battles, and some battles which are gonna be more of a control fest more than an aggro fest, and I honestly vibe very well with it. In any case, to escape, they need to recharge the device Nobita used to come in here. Fortunately, this technology is not unknown in the Heavenly World. Valkyrie is sure there is another battery in the warehouse. And after finding the key to the warehouse, and after seeing a suspiciously looking barrier which for now is blocked, but who knows, maybe later is gonna bring us to some spicy places, much later in the game maybe, we get assaulted by a single Aegis soldier, our first boss battle. This really shows the difference in power Valkyrie was mentioning. After all, she was called a savior of the world from those soldiers and possesses barely enough power to resist against a single Aegis soldier. And the same applies to Nobita. But at least, this is the first time in the game we can approach tension moves. They work in a very similar way to limit breaks in Final Fantasy VII if you ever played that game. The more you get damaged, the more you build up your tension bar. Once it's at the maximum, you can use a special move. And with that, we win the battle, escape from the Heavenly World, and are directed towards the Fantasy World for Princess Peach. Yes, that Princess Peach you're thinking about. But for now, we have to say goodbye to Nobita and Valkyrie, because we have to move to another location. Or to another time. In the outer space, in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you are ready to say hello to Shion! We are gonna formally introduce her in a second. For now, focus on the discussion she's having with the captain. It is made clear immediately they are in possession of that Aegis technology we saw with Valkyrie and Nobita, and it is realized to fight entities called Gnosis, which are present in another plane of existence only reachable by this technology. The captain is arguing that Realians, living beings with enhanced capabilities, are nothing more than tools, machines they can dispose of whenever they need to. Shion, on the other hand, believes they have emotions like everyone else. We then get to know a couple of these Realians, in particular Momo and Cosmos, and I think it's time for another new character introduction! All of these three characters come from the same source, Xenosaga. Shion is the head engineer also responsible for the creation of Cosmos, and her boyfriend Kevin Winnicott was accidentally killed by the Cosmos archetype in the past. Momo is one of the aforementioned Realians, which are artificial human beings that still possess some biological components. Her main purpose is being able to contact and observe Gnosis. And on the opposite side we have Cosmos. I just referred to her as a Realian, but it's not really correct because she's an android. That means completely mechanical, developed with the only purpose to destroy Gnosis. Her specialty is the Hilbert effect. With that, the Gnosis gets materialized in our reality and can be harmed. Oh yeah, and there is also the assistant in there, but he's not gonna do basically anything from now until the end of the game, so he's there. Nothing too special is going on in this station right now, but Shion is tired after having overworked for several days, so she brings Momo to rest, and then she takes a deserved sleep. This part is maybe where you can firstly understand how this game is gonna develop. There are gonna be episodes where you play with certain characters in certain scenarios, and others where you go completely to other places, in other contexts, in other scenarios, in other stories, and I think both me and you can already imagine and taste what's gonna happen in the future, when all of these stories are gonna collide together, and we're gonna be in the real deal. But for now, the spaceship gets attacked. And if the Gnosis are already a formidable opponent, there is also another army. The Helios army, with the captain, Dracululu? I gotta be honest, the translator was kinda struggling with this one, and finding the source of this character was kinda hard, not gonna lie, but I finally found it! He is Draculu, or Colonel Dracul, the secondary villain from, wait for it, Doraemon Nobita's Little Star Wars. If the main source the developer took the majority of the cast was already incredible, putting that on the side with Nobita characters of all things creates the perfect mixture. To me, it almost creates the same vibes of games like Super Smash Bros. For real by this point. More characters to play with, each one with their own skills, ready to fight against the Gnosis. It's revealed the reason for which they're assaulting this base is because Dracululu wants to steal Momo. Momo is one of the newest prototypes for Realians, and the Helios army comes from the past. If they put their hands on Momo, they are gonna greatly increase their power. After going through the entirety of our base with an incredible amount of random encounters, okay, for now it's still not annoying, but kinda soon, the amount of frequency with which there are random encounters is gonna become a little bit oppressing, because you cannot do 3 steps and boom, battle. Then again, the battles are not that difficult, they're actually pretty funny, but at one point you just want to proceed and you don't want to have any battles anymore, you know? So that if there is one thing I would lament about this game is that there is too much frequency for random battles. Oh, and later... Let's continue. After adding Cosmos to our party, we can go to the control room, where we see our captain being enslaved by Dracolulu. He offers us to exchange Momo for the captain, and we offer him to beat the crap out of him! This battle gives us the possibility to test the other tension moves we have. And there is a thing I still didn't mention, but I love it. Whenever the tension bar goes to maximum, the theme of the particular character is gonna be played. Now, unfortunately, I cannot play the themes in this video, otherwise the video wouldn't be here in the first place. But to give you an idea, it's a similar thing to World of Final Fantasy. When you do a summon, there is gonna be their music playing for a while. In any case, the battle is won. Dracolulu needs to escape for now, and the captain is gonna be able to tank us by taking the last escape pod to escape. And he leaves us to die in here. You know how they say, a captain always sinks with his ship. But we are in outer space, baby! There is no ship and you cannot sink, so the captain is a bastard! What makes me laugh is that later we will see the size of the escape pod, so I don't think there was even a reason to leave us in here. The captain was just scared we were gonna be slow or something and we weren't gonna be able to reach the escape pod in time, I don't know. Shion instead is able to reach the laboratory and with that technology teleport herself to the past with the rest of the party. Shion party escaped the spaceship successfully before self-destruction. And the captain, which, let me remind you, would be dead if it wasn't for us, is ambushed by Dracolulu. After all, that was the last escape pod, and look how many people come out of the last escape pod! There was all the space in the world to escape together! Dracolulu kills him. I gotta say, this was kinda satisfying, and at the same time, they are able to localize the position in time Shion and the others traveled into, which means the chase begins. And after fading to black, it's time to get teleported to a place some of you may actually be familiar with. Oh boy, I think Jan and Suneo don't need presentations. For the same reason for which I did not introduce Nobita previously. The only important thing to know is that Nobita and Doraemon disappeared. And the atmosphere feels different. Even Jan and Suneo look different. Their usual dynamic was Suneo being all, oh, look at this fantastic thing I got, and Jan wanted to forcefully take it from Suneo, and then it's all gone. All after Nobita and Doraemon left. This is the moment in which, retrospectively, if you stand still for a second and think about the situation, you may have one particular question in your mind. One question very important for the game. But we cannot think about it because Shion arrives, we get invaded by Gnosis, and Jan and Suneo fight! Jan and Suneo. Okay, Shion mentions they are stronger than normal human beings for some particular effect, but these two have way more balls than I will ever have. Imagine going to elementary school and punching to death a Gnosis! Okay, to be fair, Suneo is kinda scared initially, but he still does it! In any case, right now the mission is to protect the city from all the Gnosis. So Jan and Suneo join the party, and here the fun begins! You can choose which party members include in your party, both to personalize who you want to use, and even to strategize a little based on, I don't know, some particular skills they have, or how many HP, or how much they are leveled up, or who you like more. And oh boy, considering how many characters there are in the game, this is gonna be very special, you will see. This is the part where you can freely go around. You can fight the Gnosis as the mission wants, or you can even explore a little bit the city. There is not that much to explore, but there is a market if you want to buy some heals or some other stuff at least. I appreciated a lot that some of these locations really remind me of the cartoon. It really feels like going through a Doraemon episode in this moment. Okay, except there are some giant monsters in the back, but I mean, in some movies there are still some monsters in Doraemon. And after a while, we reach Suneo house, and of course he starts being all, it's the most beautiful house in the place, and it's so big, and it's burning, and wait, it's burning? Yes, the entirety of Suneo House is burning, and responsible is the commander of Helios Special Force, Joker. New character introduction! Joker comes from the Klonoa franchise, and it's not the last time we mention Klonoa, and all you really have to know is that he's a villain, and that apparently in the Wii version, arms and legs have been added to both hands and feet? Okay, thank you for telling me. But also, he is strategic and has a very good fighting ability. If we don't hurry up, the whole house is gonna burn to the ground. That's why Suneo takes the lead. What? Suneo, the most coward person in the world. Okay, he still did fight the Gnosis, for example, but he's always very scared. In here, he seems very resolute. He really wants to save the house and the maidens still trapped in there. Can I say, I love this? It's kind of refreshing, and it's almost a general evolution from the series. It's very sudden, and later on there are gonna be more things to discuss about this, but I appreciate trying to give a different behavior to Suneo, let's say. What I'm trying to say is, the game is making it very clear, these are not the same people you may have seen in the show. They changed after Doraemon and Nobita disappeared. And we still don't have clear why Doraemon disappeared, or why Nobita was getting teleported to the heavenly world to search for him. And no worries, the answers will arrive. But for now, by recovering the 2 keycards and saving the maids, we can activate the fire extinguishing program in the house. Now, I know you may be wondering why a fire extinguishing program should be enabled with 2 keycards in a house made entirely out of wood, but shut up! It was a very cool moment, okay? But let's say Joker did not really agree, and so we enter in another boss battle. The only real problem is that we win the battle and Joker escapes, but is that it? Is that the end? Now Helios knows where Shion is, and most importantly, Momo. And Jan and Suneo, they may have been marked as some threats for the organization in this moment. And that's why the most logical conclusion is to quickly leave the city. Change of point of view again, but this time we're inside of a dream. Nobita is dreaming of an argument he had with Doraemon. Nobita screams at Doraemon to help him because that's the reason he's there. No, Doraemon is not there just to do it all. He's there to make Nobita a fine adult, a responsible adult. And in the end, Nobita says one phrase: "You are just a robot." It's clear, or at least partially possible, that they show this flashback in the form of a dream because Nobita feels responsible of whatever happened to Doraemon, of the reason for which Doraemon disappeared. Or maybe he's just missing his brother. In any case, Nobita and Valkyrie are finally arrived into the fantasy world, coincidentally very close to the Mushroom Kingdom, ruled by Princess Peach. Also, Nobita points out that their teleportation device is completely unusable now. If they want to leave this world, they have to find another way. Also, we cannot take this chest. Here we meet the best boy of the game, the arms dealer. I unfortunately don't understand if he's a reference to something. He may come too from the same game I keep mentioning every now and then, which I'm soon gonna discuss about, but I am not completely sure. Long story short, he's a time-traveling, space-traveling, dimension-traveling merchant which is gonna follow us through the whole adventure, and is constantly gonna provide us with better equipment and multiple healing items, which are gonna be much more important than in any other game you've ever played. It is crazy to me how this random NPC, not even a main character, made in an RPG Maker game, not even translated in English, manages to be way more interesting than an NPC with a similar role in one of the most famous video game saga in the world. I love you, arms dealer.
Thank you.
At the same time, there is an assault in the Mushroom Kingdom. Soldiers are trying to kidnap the Princess Peach, the second maiden required to merge the worlds. Until they are stopped by the Chad, Mario himself! New character introduction. Listen, okay, I don't think I need to explain to you who is Mario, okay? I know Mario, your mother knows Mario probably, so instead let me give you an interesting piece of trivia I had no idea about, okay? Apparently Mario is called Mr. Video Game. Mario is unnamed in the Japanese release of Donkey Kong, but in the game's English instructions he got the name of Jumpman. Miyamoto did not expect this plumber to become so popular, he just wanted a character he could use in any video game he made whenever he needed a cameo or something. And that's why the name he chose initially was Mr. Video. In retrospect, Miyamoto thinks that keeping that name would have made Mario disappear from the face of Earth completely. In any case, Mario joins the battle, and even the brother Luigi! I love this scene so much. Just think about what's happening, okay? There are are soldiers with the firearms, swords, etc. And then this plumber and his brother arrive and just jump on all enemies until they surrender. Ah, what a lovely atmosphere. No worries, because now it gets dismantled. We meet one of my favorite characters from the game. A big one. A member of Helios' 4 stars. The Kisuji. In case you're not familiar, he too is from the Doraemon cast, and is known for being a very intelligent and kind person. Even though in here, I can see the intelligence, but there is no kindness. You don't believe me? He threatens to kill a child if the princess does not agree to come. Even going in details and describing the process where he's gonna turn around the kid's head by 180 degrees and... wow. It went from 0 to 900 real quick. The Kisuji is not playing around, and is potentially the strongest entity we saw up to now. Peach, or even Mario, cannot do anything else in front of this situation. The Kisuji takes Peach and leaves the child. And Luigi, in a desperate attempt to stop the Kisuji, gets killed. No, okay. No, not killed, but all of his vital life form is stolen from the Kisuji, basically leaving behind an empty husk. Now Helios possesses 2 maidens for the ritual. Nobita and Valkyrie arrive to the city, but it's too late, as you may imagine. There is no more princess, there is no more Luigi. The only thing we can do is to ask the next move to the Hermit, which lives in Kero Kero Lake. With Mario! Yes, Mario joins the party. First of all, because normally we would not really be able to go to the Hermit because the passage is blocked, but Mario is a hero in here, and so the mushrooms love him. And after a long sewers section and a badly rendered PNG of a boss fight, which is like kind of a worm, I think, we reach Kero Kero Lake. And in here, my disappointment was incredible, because I thought Kero Kero Lake was gonna be inhabited by Keroro, because, you know, I was a child when there was Keroro on TV, and I kept hearing Kero, 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 Kero. I know it's just the normal onomatopoeia for frogs, but I wanted Keroro in here, okay? It's just a generic frog hermit. The frog starts talking about the creation of the different worlds and the war we heard about at the start of the game. Helios, the evil association we keep hearing from the enemies, is attempting to reunite the 4 worlds by using the 4 princesses as a catalyst. Now, princesses is not a term to be intended literally. Okay, Peach is a princess, Ishtar is a sort of a ruler, so may as well be a princess, but it's just a term used to refer to the catalysts. But even Nobita knows, the evil god hidden in the time gap, Sirius, got resurrected. And the mind behind everything is the creator of Helios, the organization of the Kisuji, Dracululu, and Joker. And Nobita answers with... ... Creator of Helios, flashback of Doraemon. There are 2 possibilities in here. Either the creator of Helios killed Doraemon or took Doraemon away, or the creator of Helios is... Helios' hideout is in the material world, the world Nobita comes from. And since we already failed on protecting 2 of the 4 entities required to merge the worlds, maybe it will be easier to just stop the problem at its root. But how do we go back to the material world? The device is broken. We have to reach the Sky Temple in the Eastern Continent. To do that, we have to take a ship in the Western Continent and wait a couple of days. It's not the fastest way, and Helios may take the other princesses in this time, but it's the only road we can traverse. And so, the journey starts. Huh? Did they shoot Did they just shoot a paralyzing arrow? You know what surprises me? In this village, no one is really paying too much attention to the fact someone is shooting paralyzing arrows. No, they're just like, oh no, every now and then someone shoots. No, they still traverse the roads normally, they go around, they go outside of their houses. What are you doing? Whatever, of course the village where they keep shooting paralyzing arrows is the perfect place where having a nice rest for the night. Here Nobita has another dream. You know, seeing 2 dreams in a row clearly means it's not the first time he has been having these flashbacks. He is constantly getting haunted in his dreams by his old friend. In this dream, Doraemon says he has to leave to receive an upgrade of some sort in the future. An upgrade which should make him stronger, make him more resistant. Back in reality, he is not able to sleep anymore, and has a talk with Valkyrie about their reason to fight. Valkyrie wants to fight to live and to bring peace to the others. Instead, Nobita finally tells us his reasonings. At first, he was having revenge against the one who hurt his loved ones. The problem is, his opponent was his best friend. he had to fight and kill his best friend to save the world. Or at least, he thought he killed him. Yes, if it's still not clear, Nobita is sure his friend is the creator of Helios. But now, it's not revenge. Now, he wants to bring his friend back home. But is it true? Is that really the reason? Is Nobita able to forgive or forget whatever Doraemon did? The next day, a kid gets paralyzed and they decide it's time to stop. Ah, okay, now you decide it's time to stop someone from shooting paralyzing arrows. Yeah, now that a kid gets paralyzed. Okay, fair. And welcome to the worst dungeon of the game, because I honestly don't understand anything in here. Basically here, there is this section with the tree log, and you are supposed to follow a specific pattern in the directions, because there is always the same zone repeated, but by following a specific pattern you can proceed. And I gotta be honest, I am telling you from the love of my heart, I spent in here 1 hour without being able to do it. 1 full hour. I swear to God, I don't even understand where you are supposed to understand how to proceed through this zone. Maybe someone is gonna comment with, actually you're supposed to go up, left, right, up, because it's a reference to the Konami code or something. That's not the correct road, by the way. But no, actually, no one will do it, because no one ever played this game in English. Maybe there are 3 people in the audience which played fully this game. So yeah, I never finished this puzzle, I never continued in the game, and the video ends here. No, okay, eventually by going purely randomly I was finally able to find the continuation, but please, this is the moment in which you need to leave a like and subscribe, because god damn it if this was painful! And don't forget about the random encounter every 4 steps. Kill me, please. So yeah, at the end of the road there is the idiot which was shooting arrows, and we win, we kill him, and Mario comments apparently he was resurrected too, because Mario remembers that enemy was already dead previously, so okay. Let's continue, let's forget about this forest forever, okay? We can finally continue with our fantastic adventure, and we change the point of view again. We are now watching Ruti and Stan, which seem to be waiting for a golden knight to appear. But in that moment, they get ambushed by another one of my favorite characters. Another one of the 4 stars of Helios, the brother of Tsuneo, Tsunekichi. Apparently, Stan's sword is able to talk, and it's called Dimlos, and Tsunekichi wants it. Having that sword may increase the power of their soldiers. Okay, maybe it's because I am completely biased towards this game because I have been waiting to play it for like 10 years or more, but can I say I love how much Helios is not foxilized on a single goal? Like, yeah, they have to get the 4 saints to unify the worlds, but you can clearly see how expanded this organization is. Multiple branches with different purposes. Dracolulu and Joker are trying to get access to Momo. The Kisuji is searching for the princesses. Tsunekichi wants better weapons for their arsenal. All goals which go in the same direction, but in different ways. We defeat the little minions, but Tsunekichi is bored and doesn't really want to fight us right now, so he just leaves. Here, Nobita's crew meets Ruti and Stan, and apparently Valk knows them. It's revealed they fought in the same battles some years ago. New character introduction! Ruti and Stan both come from Tales of Destiny, the second game of Tales series originally released in 1997. And while in the past I tried a Tales game, which wasn't really that good in my opinion, I know literally nothing about them, because I am ignorant, and this is gonna happen with a lot of characters. Like, the majority of the cast of characters available is characters which I don't really know a lot about, but I am still so interested. If there is one thing I can say about this game is that it's making me very interested to try other types of franchises, to try other characters, other video games. But in any case, in Tales of Destiny what you have to know is there are some people called Zordians which can master some talking swords, and in this case the Sword of Fire Dimlos is the one used by Stan. While Stan is the Zordian of Fire, Ruti Katrea is the Zordian of Water, and it's the main heroine of the game. They were waiting in here for the Golden Knight Gilgamesh when the enemies arrived, and apparently Mario is a huge fanboy of Gilgamesh. I mean, yeah, after all they are both heroes technically. Gilgamesh and Ki finally arrived to help us, and I could introduce them right now, but there is gonna be another more appropriate moment later. There is one thing we have to talk about though. A reason for which Valk and Ruti know each other. This game is a sequel of another game called Namco X Capcom, which is an official game that combines characters from, you would never guess it, Namco and Capcom, almost all the other characters will mention having already known the others in particular occasions which mostly boil down to that game. There are some exceptions, for example Nobita and Mario, but that's mostly the case. There are even some moments where the game breaks the fourth wall and tells you should try Namco x Capcom if you didn't already. In any case, we are separated from Gilgamesh and Key because we get attacked from other monsters. And that's when Stan joined the party and Rooty too joins the party as a support. Okay, here, I don't know if it was the translator to be stupid or no, but Rooty specifically says that the three of us will fight while she stays behind, and up to there it's okay. Nobita says one particular phrase, makes sense, you are a woman after all. Nobita, it's 2025, I don't think you should be saying that now. At least we get introduced to support characters. Support characters are the most broken thing ever. Extra actions you can perform every now and then, on top of your normal action, using some bars on the side, which get recharged as you play, and with them you can perform various abilities. For now we can only heal, but later we can attack, we can do multiple AoE damage, we can do some special stuff in general. We reunite with Gilgamesh and Key, and look at this party selector. Look at all the slots available, and imagine how many possibilities of different party compositions there are gonna be. This is why I love this kind of games, for all the multitude of characters you can play. Yeah, but unfortunately Gilgamesh and Key have to leave the party temporarily again, because those minions we fought previously were apparently minions of Deruaga, and Deruaga is not explicitly said now, it's very related to Gilgamesh and Key. But we're gonna talk about this once we introduce the characters. While the rest of the party continues the journey to the Sky Temple, there is a chance another one of the maidens required for the rituals is gonna be the High Priestess in the Sky Temple herself. Unfortunately, it's too late and it's very foggy, so it's better to camp for the night. During the night, Mario and Stan are able to talk about a lot of stuff. Mario shares his story of how he lost temporarily his brother Luigi for now, and Stan, on the other hand, wants to protect Rooty no matter what. But while they are having this nice discussion, Nobita is once again immersed in his own dreams. And oh boy, this dream. In this dream, Nobita is speaking with Dorami. In case you don't know, Dorami is the robot sister of Doraemon. Doraemon is a failure. Doraemon is a mistake. A discarded robot they should have been disposed of. He discovered this after the upgrade he should have obtained failed. From that moment, he locked himself in the closet and didn't say a single word. No one was able to make him come out. Imagine being in that situation, knowing your whole existence is a failure. Okay, there is no need to imagine in that case because it's a reality, but follow my reasoning. Getting to know your existence is a failure so suddenly, hearing from the same person you are here to protect that you are just a robot. I wouldn't want to be Doraemon in this moment. The next day, the party finally reaches Neustadt. The idea is to take a ship to reach the Sky Temple in the eastern continent, but unfortunately the ship is damaged and needs to be repaired. And if, unfortunately, this is gonna require a lot of time, fortunately there is a rich person in the city willing to help us. What we have to do is to win the upcoming fighting tournament and give him the prize, an elixir which is able to heal any kind of sickness. And we can see in the darkness once again Joker, scheming something with another weird individual. But in any case, tourney time! Unfortunately, only 4 people can participate, 4 because one is gonna be the support character, so I'm sorry Stan, you are gonna stay behind. The fights are not too difficult, but also because we did some little grinding previously. I think by this point of my gameplay, I actually did not care anymore about grinding and the random encounters being annoying. I just enjoyed being able to see more the animations of my favorite characters. All nice and dandy until we reach the finals, where we have to fight a lone swordsman, Kai Kiske. New character introduction. Kai comes from Guilty Gear, a fighting game released all the way back in 1998. He is the possessor of the secret weapon Thunder Sealing Sword, and god damn it if now I regret having said these fights are easy. Imagine if this person found 3 more people to fight with him in the tournament. We would have been destroyed in this moment. But fortunately, this is not the only problem we have. No wait, did I say fortunately? No, I meant unfortunately, because after Kai there is another boss battle! The boss in question is Janga, the one Joker was talking to previously. Like Joker, Janga comes from the Klonoa universe and is also called Poison Claw Janga. Very important because he poisons Valkyrie. And if for a second I almost thought I was gonna have to fight without my main healer in the party and I was almost screaming at the PC, Kai joins the battle! No worries, even if we have a new powerful ally in the party, this is still very brutal. But I actually appreciate it. If it was just a walk in the park, I feel it would feel less special. As I already mentioned before, after all, the battles in this game are gonna be long. And I mean, at least around 5 minutes long, both because you deal low damage, but also because you have to constantly be able to control the situation, restore HP, maybe boost the stats. Oh, we are gonna arrive to boost stats very soon. It's revealed Kai was a member of the International Police Organization, whatever that is, but I guess it's important, and Kai actually was just using like 1% of his power against us because he only joined the tournament to fight Jenga, maybe? Jenga. Valkyrie's poison is mortal, so we have to use the elixir to heal her. Despite that, the rich man still agrees to let us use his ship to reach the eastern continent, because he liked the spectacle. And I don't know, maybe he thought there was an actual reason for which we are in such a hurry. Did no one in the party actually tell that to him? We are traveling with the hero of the Mushroom Kingdom, the servant of goddess Ishtar, and we could just tell the world is in trouble, and no one tells it. Maybe they didn't want to create, I don't know, problems or scare the population or something, but if we don't do it, we're gonna die! Whatever. With the ship, we reach the temple in no time, and we meet the Shrine Maiden. And while she explains that from here we're able to reach the material world and destroy Helios Base once and for all, Gans and Klonoa arrive. New character introduction! Klonoa is a character that made the first appearance in Door to Phantom Isle, and goes through a long journey after a premonition dream, journey where he will meet characters such as the aforementioned Joker and Janga, for example, and there is a problem with Gans. So, Gans is, a wandering bounty hunter, nicknamed the Golden Reaper, and he's a nihilistic, cool lone wolf. And his first appearance was in Klonoa 2 Dream Champ Tournament. False! A wiki says his first appearance was in there, but that's false. The first appearance was in Klonoa Beach Volleyball, the strongest team showdown. Imagine introducing a character like that in a beach volleyball game, and then apparently, I don't know, it becomes kinda important in the story, but it's first introduced in a beach volleyball game. Imagine if in Persona 3 Dancing All Night or something, they introduced the Joker and then in Persona 5 you see he's the main character. Imagine. That's that level of randomness. In any case, Klonoa and Gans enter in here because apparently Helios soldiers arrived. And this is the first time where Nobita sees the Kisuji in his new shape. One of the strongest members of Helios, the commander of their forces, and the heroes of light on top of the Sky Temple. This is the final showdown. This is the first team battle. It's very clear where they took inspiration for this. There is even the exact same music, but for obvious reasons I cannot play it. Oh, and by the way, Gilgamesh reached us. You may wonder, how did he arrive in here without a ship? Because after all, he wasn't with us. Jet boots. Did we just require so much time for a ship just for Gilgamesh to use jet boots? Now, it's the first time I am gonna say it. Having so many characters may make you wonder, maybe it just devolves into the I'm gonna use the same 3 characters for the whole game. Well, you can't, you have to use them all, and I appreciate it, because in this way you can also just try out them. Maybe you just want to stick with the characters you like, but in these situations where you are kinda forced to use them, you may end up discovering something you may like. I didn't know at all Klonoa before this moment, but I'm already starting to appreciate this character. And after getting rid of all the soldiers and even of some Aegis suite, the Kisuji and Joker. And here I can show you my favorite attack of the whole game. Mezawari. Do you remember when I told you I appreciate the different approach they took with characters like Suneo, where it's not clearly the same character of the show, it's a modified, amplified version? I see the same thing in the Kisuji. We all know he's a very smart person, but how much smart? Smart enough to believe he's better than the others? Smart enough to want more? Smart enough to join forces with Helios to rule the world? In the end, we are still able to triumph, which proves that Nobita is at least as powerful as an elite force from Helios. But he still has a bad feeling, as if something is gonna happen now. And his suspicions were confirmed in the High Priestess room. Someone is coming. The creator of Helios. Doraemon. Doraemon didn't die because of Nobita. He only lost an arm. The only thing he cares about now is power. Having enough power to become the king of the new world. The world Helios wants to create. And we are just a little rock on the road. The final confrontation with the biggest evil in the universe. It's a very long battle, where we can sense the brutality of Doraemon's moves. And he's not even fully completed in this moment, and he's fighting alone. Imagine if he fought us together with the Kisuji, or if Tsunekishi joined the battle. Which brings the question actually, why didn't he do it? It could have been much better. Maybe he could have won the battle. In any case, the High Priestess tells us we cannot go directly to the material world. We have to pass through the demon world and find King Enma. But maybe that's the mistake we did. Letting our guard down. The third catalyst to combine the world is not the High Priestess, is her assistant, Lolo. Oh, and by the way, I'm sorry to break the atmosphere, but Lolo is from the Klonoa series as well. It's a priestess in training, long story short. What the High Priestess will be is just a power source for Doraemon. In front of this view, Nobita and Doraemon look at each other. In the end, Nobita wasn't able to protect anyone. He wanted to save Doraemon, bring him back home, protect everyone. Look where we are. The High Priestess is consumed. The third princess is captured. And we are surrounded by soldiers. Maybe the only thing that really drives us is revenge. The only thing said from Doraemon is that Nobita is still not fully awakened, and then leaves. And Nobita jumps away for what's gonna be a very long time. This to me is the end of the very first section of the game. The main plot point of the game was started. What we have to do now is temporarily stop. We followed the adventures of this party for a while, so for now, compartmentalize everything, take a deep breath, and let's move into the material world. We can see a famous idol performing on the stage, in what appears to be called a battle musical. Is that even a real thing? New character introduction! She is called Wonder Momo and comes from the game Wonder Momo, a parody of the classic superhero video game. And in the game, she is an actress on a stage performing as Wonder Momo. She's not a superhero, she's just an actress. And that's literally the same thing she's doing right now in the game. And now it becomes slightly more complicated. We move to the point of view of this person right here, which is here for an interview with Wonder Momo. But we soon discover he is able to transform into a Power Ranger to deal with some monsters. New character! Finding who the character really was kinda struggling, because the translator called him Beansman. Mr. Beansman, Mr. Bean. He is actually called Shinji Kido, coming from a Japanese television series where he's able to transform into what's called a Kamen Rider and has to fight against mirror monsters coming from the mirror world. And just to be precise, the mirror world is not another world like the 4 worlds we were told about. You know, the demon world, the heavenly world, the fantasy world, the material world, okay? It's called the mirror world, but it's something else, okay? It's not an actual world, it's just called the mirror world! And at the same time, we move to the manager of Wonder Momo. He discovered that some soldiers entered in here with the purpose of killing the idol. That's the moment where he transforms into Bravo Man. Bravo Man apparently was born as a homage to 1960s tokusatsu films, movies which take great use of special effects. And in a similar way to Wonder Momo, he was born as a sort of parody, which is why in the aforementioned game Namco x Capcom they are partners. After preventing the assassination of Momo, the 3 characters we saw up to now meet each other. and together they stop the monsters which were starting to infest the city. In the end, a reporter says the city is saved and we can see our 3 characters not anymore dressed as heroes, which are happy. Even though Shinji is approached by a mysterious person which talks about the merging of the worlds and about how the mirror world is being caused to mix up with the normal world. In the end, we see a soldier of Helios contacting the headquarters and saying, "This was not normal. Monsters shouldn't have appeared." This may be the result of the actions of the secret society Shadaloo. And it's not long before he's approached by 2 mysterious people and killed. I gotta be honest, I don't really like this part. Don't misunderstand me, they are setting up some good stuff such as Shadaloo for example, but I feel like after all we have seen with Nobita and Doraemon, going in here it's kinda... so sudden and a little bit less important, like, I'm in that moment where I'm like, bro, show me the real deal, I don't care about the Bravo Man or something. But if I don't like this part, what comes afterwards is one of my favorite sections of the game. We are now controlling a task force with the purpose of assaulting the company Zaibatsu. It is rumored that Zaibatsu is offering military support to Helios. And in here we know the important thing. Helios is not just a secret society only a couple of people know about. It is already considered a threat for the whole world. So much that they sent Bruce, Fanglin, Jill, and Shin to investigate the Zaibatsu. Bruce McGiven and Fanglin come from the same game, Resident Evil Dead Aim. Bruce used to be an agent from the US Stratcom, and Fanglin comes from the Ministry of Security of China. Even Jill Valentine comes from Resident Evil games, but not from Dead Aim. She appeared for the first time in the very first Resident Evil game released all the way back in 1996, and was one of the 2 playable characters. And then after having 3 characters from Resident Evil, in this team there is Shin Asuka, the GOAT. He's probably my favorite character from the game. He is the protagonist of an animated series called Sweet Gundam Seed Destiny. And while I could say more about his backstory, no worries, there is gonna be time to talk about it later. You just have to know that I love him! And it's not even a character I got to know before the game. No. Shin is a character I completely discovered only because of this game. But in any case, the goal is to reach Zaibatsu and meet up with the collaborators that are waiting in there and capture the leader of the company. And I could tell you what is the Zaibatsu or who is their leader, but there is gonna be time to wait. And so the journey starts on a crusade ship. Yeah, we could have gone with a plane or with a helicopter, but maybe it would have been a little bit more suspicious. We could have caught the attention of the Zaibatsu, maybe? Bruce has a talk with the GOAT, Bruce has a talk with Shin. He is surprised by how young Shin is for being already involved in a mission of this caliber. And there is a reason for which Shin is fighting. But he doesn't really want to talk about it right now. So Bruce leaves. He wants to relax a bit before reaching Zaibatsu. So, the rest of the crusade goes perfectly fine and nothing bad happens and okay, come on. It's clear they're gonna get attacked by Helios monsters. And we start experimenting with our new character Bruce. Since Bruce starts at level 1, maybe I thought about taking some time in here to, level up a little bit. After all, the more party members you have in your party, the more the experience points are divided between them. Instead, if you have only one member, all the experience goes to one single person. So now it's the perfect moment to secure a decent amount of level ups for him. It's gonna make everything much easier later. And after saving some people which were hiding inside of a cabin, my translator made another phrase which I loved. To kill those monsters. You are an American! We also add to our party Shin and Jill in the process, and we reach our destination. Zaibatsu, one of the greatest companies in the world, suspected of having given military support to Helios. Here, we meet our new collaborators, Xiaomu and Reiji. Hey, remember Reiji, the same person mentioned at the start of the game? The savior of the world together with Valkyrie? New character introduction! This is crazy. Reiji and Xiaomu are the protagonists of Namco x Capcom. Characters created for that game, but then they also appeared in Project X-Zone and Super Robot Tyson! In any case, they talked to us about the latest prototype developed in Zaibatsu, a weapon able to neutralize magical force. And I mean, we already saw a weapon like that. They neutralized completely the power of a goddess with it. That's why we have to stop the Zaibatsu with a Final Fantasy VII infiltration mission. I mean, come on, this is clearly Final Fantasy VII. We even go through the section where you enter through the back and there are all the floors you have to climb on. on, this is Final Fantasy VII, but those sprites are from Final Fantasy VI Tower! There are so many layers, so many references. The person who made this game clearly loved all the franchises we are seeing. Of course, the stealth infiltration does not work for some reason, and the alarm starts. This stops the elevator which goes to the director floor. You know, it's a form of safety for the director. To reactivate it, we go through another section with multiple teams at the same time, and finally we can practice with the Reiji in battle. Yeah, Shaomu is a support character. Another noteworthy detail is that during a battle, Shin gets a healing book, a sort of grimoire which teaches you how to use heal. Nice! Now we have a damage dealer which can also heal, and I think there is another reason for this. Since we are gonna go through multiple sections of the game where we have multiple parties and we cannot have all the characters at the same time, I think this was done to have another healer in addition to that, maybe? All of this to reach the president of the company. It's time to reveal to you what I have been keeping as a secret up to now. The president who is helping Helios is Mishima. The guy from Street Fighter? Tekken? I do remember. Okay. I may have said that on purpose to trigger Tekken fans, honestly. But in any case, for anyone who doesn't know, and I mean, I too did not know up to this moment because I am not a Tekken fan, unfortunately, the Zaibatsu is a giant multinational conglomerate in the Tekken universe. During a warfight with Mishima, we get approached by Jin, another member of the Tekken universe, which offers his help. And soon enough, Tsunekichi arrives from the window. What Tsunekichi does is completely removing every single contact possible between Helios and the Zaibatsu. Helios has already all the strength required. The company lost his most important contact. Mishima is in the corner, and so he escapes, soon followed by Jin. Oh, and it's revealed, just as a little side note, the stupid Jin is the one who triggered the alarm because he used the frontal entrance of the building. What an idiot. With one problem, solved. I don't know if I can really say solved, but okay. There is another one on the horizon. More Helios activity in another part of the city. And be prepared because now there is my favorite minigame ever. While reaching the location, we get approached by soldiers on motorcycles. And I already mentioned the Final Fantasy VII being an inspiration for the previous mission. This one is the same. This is the motorcycle chase in Final Fantasy VII. The Chad Reiji goes on the top of the car and starts swinging his blade and shooting with his gun at all the opponents. And honestly, it's not even that easy. Maybe it's because the commands are a little bit clunky, or maybe it's because the enemies move in a kind of a faster way than us, but I genuinely failed this section multiple times, in particular because of the boss fight. The Dark Gaia from the Gundam series. This is hard. The pattern of the boss constantly changes as the HP go down, and your car, you would have never guessed it, it's very big. Take all the time in the world in safe zones if you ever want to do this mission. Why am I still talking like if anyone is gonna play this game? No one can play this game! Yeah, whatever. Mission hard, we win, we get contacted saying that we have to go to Shibuya now. Meanwhile, in an abandoned factory we go back to Jan and Suneo. They got separated from the others during an attack, and now they have to go through some very realistic factory labyrinths. I mean, don't you have factory labyrinths as well in your factories? But it's to no use. They get captured by Helios soldiers, and Momo gets taken by a mysterious dude. Soldiers are preparing for our execution, but fortunately Power Rangers arrive in here and save the day. Back into the factory, we reach another zone going through a secret passage. I mean, don't you have secret passages in your factory? And surprisingly, they find Momo completely unharmed, protected by someone that they recognize in a short while. A serial killer. And another Kamen Rider, the Snake King. Which, if I understood correctly, it's the Kamen Rider the protagonist faces in the last episode, so this could be the final climax of his storyline. We win the battle and Chun-Li arrives, another member of the International Police. Yes guys, she is the character from Fortnite. Momo is rescued, Helios soldiers are defeated, but the Snake King gets teleported away from something. Something, or someone. Someone who promises power. As long as the Snake King is gonna fight whoever stands in their way. Location, question mark. Ah, I know this place. We can see Helios' hideout. Apparently, Doraemon is gonna join the battlefield soon. And then, a mysterious knight in armor talks to Doraemon about the fact we found their base, and about how we are soon gonna infiltrate in it. They cannot just leave, because this place is where the fluctuations are the most intense ever in the whole material world. This is where the ritual must happen, the ritual to merge the worlds. Bruce's party has finally reached Shibuya, where they get attacked by Gnosis. And at the same time, Jan and Suneo party arrives, and with the Hilbert effect they easily defeat all the Gnosis. Everyone is gathered in here. Well, except for those who are still in the Sky Temple, but we are gonna go back to them in a second. Helios headquarters are below Shibuya. And with some modifications to a teleportation device, we are in. And get ready for another division into 3 different parties! I have already said this, and I want to repeat it once again, I am loving how many different sections there are which make you use multiple characters. Also because I am not really hating any character in the game for now, so being able to play as all of them simultaneously is even better. This is also the moment where I think I was understanding who was the strongest character of the game, the most versatile, the most useful, the biggest supporter. The character is Suneo. Suneo is a king. He deals high damage, he has an AoE attack which deals basically the same damage of a normal attack on all the enemies, not even reduced by something, and most importantly has a move which boosts attack, something no one else can do up to now. And also he's so incredibly fast. Not my favorite character, but a giant powerhouse nonetheless. In any case, each team has to go through a different gimmick of a different puzzle, of a different labyrinth. The first one needs to find a password to enable the first generator, the second one needs to deactivate multiple buttons to remove barriers to reach a second generator, and the third one dodges lasers. And I sucked at these. To empower the last generator. Each generator also has a boss fight which is absolutely original and for sure not a recycled design from another game, absolutely no. But at this point, one thing I was wondering, and one thing you may be wondering as well in the same time, is why all these minigames? Why would the Helios base be designed around these? We will go back to that in a second, but for now, we meet an old friend, Dracolulu. He reveals those monsters we fought were just prototypes, created using a particular virus which turns humans into biological weapons. Yes, despite not being able to capture Momo, he already developed biological weapons. This battle is very difficult, especially because the different arms of the enemy are gonna regenerate every couple of turns. If I wasn't able to take advantage of the power of Suneo, or the last drop of plot armor, we would have lost. The last biological weapon is defeated, Dracolulu is in shambles, and we enter the final room. A couple of steps is all we were able to do before being stopped by Saya. Saya is a villain in Namco X Capcom, and is the responsible of the death of Reiji's father, the right-hand man of Doraemon, another member of the 4 Stars of Helios, the manager of Project Neo Century. And not only her, there is even the last member of the 4 Stars, Jan, which Suneo and Jan know very well. She's a robot coming from the movie of Doraemon and the Robotic Kingdom. She confirms the reason for which Doraemon is doing what he's doing is because he rejects the role society gave to him. Machines are just tools. They are just used and then left abandoned after a better one is made. They are weapons in the hands of fools. After all, it's not the first time we've heard these words. The captain said the same while talking to Shion. And Nobita maybe was just angry from the moment, but he too said, "You are just a robot." Jan charges against us. She knows she cannot stop us anymore. All she has to do is to hold on a little longer. That's the reason for which there were all those puzzles in their headquarters. That's the reason for which they're making us lose time. They just need a couple more seconds to trigger the teleporter. The whole base of Doraemon is getting moved into the demon world, and Momo and Cosmos will stay with them. After all, Cosmos is an android, and Momo is partially a machine. Doraemon has all the time in the world to subjugate them and make them do what he wants. Now, I consider this the end of the second section of the game, which ends on partially a cliffhanger, which is gonna reach its climax in this third section which comes right now. We now know all the opponents we are dealing with. All the 4 Stars of Helios are fully revealed. But there is still something weird. Doraemon may feel betrayed by the others, may feel sad, but was it really that simple? Was it really that simple to go one step further and wanting to dominate the world? What if he too is a victim of what came out from the time gap? But for now, let's continue with the third section, which opens up with the party we left off in the Sky Temple. Even if Nobita is not anymore with them, they finally arrived to the demon world. It's discovered by talking to some citizens that the demon world will not exist anymore in Project Neo Sanctuary. All of this is not envisioned in Doraemon's view of the new world. And maybe protecting their world and granting peace is the reason for which Morrigan joins the party. New character introduction! So, Morrigan comes from Darkstalker series, the very first fighting minigame with a graphic in manga style. She's by far the most popular character in the game, and the one which is usually used for collabs like Namco x Capcom. Do you know why? Because after all, why not using the main character, very simply? Well, the main character, Dmitry Maximov, is unable to appear in crossover works because of his special move, Midnight Bliss. How can I explain this? Basically, if he uses this move on a woman, she's gonna change appearance like in here. But if the opponent is a man, he's gonna be transformed into a woman first, and then he will suck the life force of the opponent, because, and I quote, Dmitry has a policy of only drinking the blood of beautiful women. This is peak cinema. So, you know, inserting the character without his signature move would be kinda underwhelming, and if you actually want to insert the character, you have to create woman sprites for every single character in the world, so that's probably the reasoning. In any case, with Morrigan in our team, we start going towards King Enma location, the next step of our journey in the demon world. Meanwhile, somewhere else, Jean and Suneo and Bruce McGiven... How many times you can say in the same phrase Jan, Suneo, and Bruce McGiven? The three amigos are in a mermaid bar full of drunk soldiers and mermaids, so I don't really want to know what's gonna happen in here. In the demon world, they ended up in here after the transportation of the whole headquarters of Ilios in the demon world. Jan and Suneo still have a gadget left behind by Doraemon, which turned them invisible. With that, they are able to rescue a friend of Bruce, Tarosuke. Tarosuke comes from a platform arcade released all the way back in 1987 called Yokai Dochuki. And in the game, Tarosuke needs to reach Hell, where Buddha will determine his fate, and that's gonna be important kinda for later. In any case, let's go back serious for a second, because at this point, Suneo bursts. He cannot hold it anymore. He has experienced too much. He's just a student. He had to deal with monsters, terrorists, paranormal activities. Suneo does not want to fight anymore. And even if the moment kinda touched me and I feel very sad, I was also being like, no! The best party member! But honestly, can you blame him? He never asked for this. He already helped, and maybe that's the reason for which Bruce and not even Jan try to discuss this too much. So for now, Suneo leaves the party. Bruce and Jan instead are gonna continue, and Tarosuke joins the party as a support. Tarosuke knows a lot about the conformation of this zone, so it's gonna be a great help. They are able to trick some soldiers and steal their uniforms, so they can go freely around and explore more. They stumble upon the captain of Helios soldiers and the Queen Mermaid. The captain is trying to take the Golden Seed, a special artifact with multiple powers hidden in this house. And maybe he's trying to take even something else. I'm not joking, it's in the dialogue. Following Tarosuke's suggestion, we reach the room of the seed, but get ambushed by Helios soldiers. Everything seems hopeless now. But Suneo the Goat saves us again, takes all the possible braveness he still has in his heart, and defeats the soldier in front of the door. I love Suneo in this game, but celebrations are short. Wow, Suneo, you didn't need to... Wow, ooh. Useless to say, it was not Suneo. Something killed the soldiers. Something. Or someone. Nobita is here. Nobita steals the Golden Seed, attacks us, and runs away. We get rescued by the mermaids, and Jan and Suneo tell Bruce about Nobita, how he was targeted from Ballis from being very naive and too gentle, but how everything changed after his best friend burnt the whole city to the ground and made several people die. We got another piece of the puzzle. Still, our adventure continues, and we follows finally the point of view of Reiji and Xiaomu. Oh boy, I love the part which comes now. Maybe that design does not tell you anything, but you will realize soon once he calls this world the RTP world. Reiji and Xiaomu got teleported into the RTP world. Every single thing you see in here comes by default with the RPG Maker package. And it doesn't stop here! The first battle you do in here has the frontal camera of RPG Maker, and every single soundtrack here is a distorted version of the standard OST that comes with RPG Maker. I love so much breaking the fourth wall like this. And remember, this game is not exactly modern. Breaking the fourth wall in this game, even in indie games, was not that common. And Alex joins the team. I don't need to explain who is Alex. It's RPG Maker package starter pack, basically. I love this! Oh, and by the way, as I said for the Mirror World, the RTP world is not an actual world present in the game, it's just called RTP world, okay? Don't read too much into it, it's just a parody, okay? We reached the Demon Lord, which apparently is quite a good friend with Alex, and he is able to teleport us to King Enma. But accidentally, Alex comes with us. Mario's party eventually reaches King Enma, where they're able to communicate with Ishtar. Unfortunately, the communication is cut off short, but we discover they have all the 4 princesses required for the ritual. Ishtar, Peach, Lolo, and a mysterious 4th one. We must hurry up. At the same time, Suneo party reaches this place, and Reiji gets teleported in here with Alex. Almost everyone is gathered in here. 2 groups, one to go explore a city taken by Helios, the other go to Druaga Castle, a place where Gilgamesh went. We need Gilgamesh power if we want to enter Helios headquarters. Another point of view. We are in a dream. Shin is having nightmares. Someone screaming. A girl. He wakes up. He's here with Jill and Fanglin. Helios soldiers are controlling the city searching for us. Fortunately, a demon family granted us their protection because they don't believe in Helios. After going around the city, Shin takes some time to organize his mind and looks a photo on his phone. If you know the character, you may already know who that girl is, but for now, we're gonna wait. Suddenly, he notices some soldiers annoying someone and decides to step in and protect that person. A person which looks incredibly similar to the girl on the photo, Mayu, even if this one is called Maya. She is part of the same family that is currently hiding them from Helios. And while they are holding a secret meeting to decide what to do, Helios enters in the house and condemns the people in there to death penalty for possible protection of wanted people. After all, it's a win-win situation for them. Helios already wants to destroy the demon world, and maybe they can even discover our hideout. Shin almost has a breakdown. He wants to save Maya, and is revealed who is the girl on the photo. It's Mayu, his sister. Dead because of an attack of Helios. That's actually a retcon. In reality, it's dead from some other reason in the anime, but whatever. It's dead because of an attack of Helios. The reason he's fighting is not only to get revenge, but also to prevent other people to pass through this. Shin is literally a resoluted Nobita. Nobita was like, I'm not doing it for revenge, I'm doing it to protect the others. Instead, Shin accepts that he's doing it for revenge, but not only that, also because he wants to protect the others. I love this character. We are not alone in this battle, because reinforcements arrive from King Enma Castle. And here it's where I got a little bug. Basically, if you use 2 revival items on the same person, after the first one, you are stuck. You get hard locked. You cannot do anything anymore. I think the reasoning is because the game is trying to use the item, but the item can only be used on characters which are already dead, so the program is stuck and doesn't know what to do, whatever. The captain escapes and unleashes his final weapon against us. The strongest suit ever made. An Aegis that tops all the other Aegis in the world. I appreciate a lot how fights are becoming more complex. Enemies have multiple body parts, there are some gimmicks, there are some things you have to pay attention to, you need to have a good healing source. There is a lot of improvement on this department. You can really feel how the more the developer worked at this, the more he became expert in battles. Especially because with expertise we trigger another bug! Okay, What's happening? Up to now I found literally 0 bugs, and now we have got 2 bugs in less than 10 minutes. Was I just lucky? Whatever, we redo the battle, nothing different literally, and this time it works for some reason. The enemy is too strong for us, and this is when Shin relieves his memory. He was the only one of his family to survive. In a way, it was thanks to his sister. He made one promise that day. 2 promises technically. First of all, Helios is gonna pay. And second, he's not gonna lose anyone else. This is the moment where Shin completely cements himself as the best character in the game. Stay strong, King. Change of point of view, Gilgamesh and Ki, and there is a reason I waited up to now to present you these characters, because now it's time for new character introduction. Gilgamesh is the hero with the purpose of defeating Deruaga, the demon of the tower. And you would never guess it, the first game he appeared in is called the Tower of Deruaga, where you have to go through several floors to reach the final floor with Deruaga, slay him, and save the maiden Ki. Ki is a very close friend to Gilgamesh, and even has her own prequel game, The Quest for Ki, which came out after the Tower of Deruaga, of course. In this game, you go again through the tower, but this time you cannot fight anyone, you just have to dodge all their possible attacks. It's kinda like a platformer and purely platformer, and once you arrive at the end, you get turned into stone, ready to then be rescued by Gilgamesh in the Tower of Deruaga. Why are we talking about all of this? Because this section of gameplay we play right now is very similar to Tower of Deruaga, and we are in the Tower of Deruaga in this moment in the game. We have to make our way going through multiple floors, defeating enemies and reaching higher and higher heights. At one point, Helios arrives, but even our friends arrive. Using another gadget left behind by Doraemon, they are able to help Gilgamesh and save the situation. On the top of the tower, we have a confrontation with Deruaga, which for now is just a little cell. But this explains the presence of monsters in the fantasy world, the presence of monsters in the mirror world of the material world, the presence of monsters everywhere. They were gaining tissue to slowly rebuild Deruaga himself, and they have one last ace up their sleeve. The tower itself is a trap. Every single floor can instantly kill everyone in there which is not prepared. Monsters, Helios soldiers, it doesn't matter anymore. They are all meat to feed the Demon Lord. Deruaga is back, in all his magnificent power. It would be very easily to win in here, but inside of Deruaga, there is the blood of another Demon Lord called Daemon, and he tells him to stop. He's scared of Jan. Jan is able to make the Demon Lord scared? It is unclear in this moment what's the reason, but Jan must possess something special if the Demon Lord is afraid. Thanks to that, we're able to escape and go back to King Enma. Now really everyone is ready in here. Well, everyone except Tarosuke. Tarosuke needs to stay in here because its fate is finally gonna be revealed in Hell, like in the video game he comes from. We are in Helios headquarters again, baby, for the last time. Once again, we have to go through different zones with different parties with different purposes to then reach the final hideout, the room we got stuck in the last time. Reiji party has to fight another biological weapon created by Dracolulu, but this biological weapon is personal. It's Honda, a friend of Reiji. Reiji has to put his friend to rest to be able to proceed. Shion party, on the other hand, finds a computer with various data. In particular, it contains the rank level of all playable characters. Level of Menace is a concept mentioned multiple times through the game, but it wasn't really fundamental, and so I kept it for this moment. Menace level indicates how risky a subject is for Helios. The higher the rank, the stronger the menace, and the 3 most important menaces are Nobita, Jan, and Tsuneo, the only ones which actually know Doraemon and are able to dismantle the whole organization. Then there are some other big powerhouses like Reiji Arisu, and then there are some menaces which are just like level 0 or something like Alex from the RTP world. Who the fuck is Alex after all, right? And there is also another file called Project Neo Century, but unfortunately it doesn't open. We are then able to free Momo, and unfortunately Cosmos was brainwashed by Doraemon. Which means we're gonna beat the shit out of her and she's gonna go back to normal. Okay, it seems I'm saying it as a joke, but it's actually what she wants. She wants to feel pain, because pain means you're alive. She knows she's just an android, but still wants to try to perceive what are human emotions. And the last group remaining is in front of the final room. The room where the last time we got stopped by Dracolulu. And I'm gonna stop you right here, because I am kinda excited for this moment. We're getting closer to that moment I saw back in the past, which brought me to constantly think about this game, okay? And first of all, there is part 1 of that moment. The Kisuji. It's the first time the Kisuji is seen by Jan and Suneo in here. And Tsunekichi, the brother of Suneo. Imagine you are fighting a terrorist organization in the demon world and you have to fight your brother. What are we talking about? For how much they built up these two characters, I was incredibly hyped for the battle. We are fighting two of the strongest members of Helios at the same time inside of their own headquarters. And we also discovered that Tsunekichi may be one of the most evil people in the world. The reason he joined Helios was because he was bored, because it was more interesting than living in his past life. Wow, we got megalomaniacs pursuing power, and then this. Tsunekichi deserves to be beaten up. And the battle is brutal! Not only because you have to manage two enemies at the same time, but also because the Kisuji has a new attack in his storage, and they are so thematically fitting! Did you see? 100 of scores like those in elementary school because he's the most intelligent one ever! If there is one thing I noticed in this battle is I was finishing my items. I had basically nothing else to restore my TP, which are those you use for the skills, and my healing items were almost over. And even if we are winning the battle, the problem is, I already know what comes next. Oh boy, finally. Jan and Suneo couldn't do anything but fall into despair. Why is Doraemon doing this? They were supposed to be friends. But as Doraemon himself will say, "Who are you again?" Not only rejecting the world, but rejecting his own life, the people he got to know. Just, what happened? Is this really all a reaction of knowing you are a failure? We don't have time to think about it, because someone else would like to have a talk with Doraemon. Nobita is back, still in an uncontrollable state, but able to recognize who is his real enemy. He turns towards Doraemon and is ready to fight. There is just a problem. As Doraemon says, the battle could be catastrophic no matter the result. If Doraemon wins, Nobita dies and he will get all the power necessary to annihilate all of his enemies and create a new world. If Nobita wins in this uncontrollable state and drains the power of Doraemon, there is a huge possibility he will cause immense damage up to being able to destroy the worlds. We are trapped. We are basically forced to fight against Nobita, otherwise it will be the end. And after the battle, maybe Doraemon will be able to finish us off immediately. But there is no other way. For this battle, we are forced to have in the party Jan and Suneo. And then, I'm gonna pick Valkyrie, a nice healer and also the first person Nobita met in his adventure. The one who wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Nobita. Are you ready? I have been waiting this moment since the very beginning of this adventure. This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. If you skipped that part and you don't know what I'm talking about, basically fuck you! You think you can just skip through the video and think to understand something? Go watch it, idiot! Something without which we wouldn't be here today. This is the reason for which now, in 2025, I am talking about this game. That single scream. That scream is the one thing which made sure this game never left my mind. Seeing a character I loved from the cartoon in this state and not being able to understand anything about what's happening. I'm talking about me. I wasn't able to understand why he was screaming. What were they doing? Why was Doraemon evil? But now, I know everything. We know everything. And this battle has a total different meaning. What is made evident in this battle is the difference of power between us and Nobita, the highest ranking menace towards Helios. And we have to thank God that all of his attacks are single target. Imagine if he was able to use AoE attacks. The battle would be basically impossible. Not considering his special move is basically able to one-shot a character, does not matter how many HP they have. And since by this point I had almost no resources, I had to strategically kill some of my characters to then resurrect them. In that way, they would get more HP. Being a battle I was not able to experience for over 10 years, it was able to meet the expectations. But this doesn't mean that you can win. Almost everyone has already fallen. There is only Jan still standing. After this, Doraemon will be easily able to finish off an exhausted Nobita and annihilate everyone else. But Jan was not done. This Nobita is weak. He is lacking something that the old Nobita had. The old Nobita was the kind of person to take all the braveness in his heart to stand against someone. This one is just a pathetic manifestation of anger. This one is just a shadow of his former self. Jan wins the battle. Maybe this force of will is the same thing which scared Deruaga previously. But does it matter? Everyone is almost fully exhausted. Doraemon is still in full power, and Nobita passed out. Fortunately, Jan's last words were able to save a couple more seconds, just a couple more seconds, to allow everyone else to arrive in the room. We are all together again. Some of us are exhausted, some others aren't, but at least we are all ready to take down the leader of the organization. A couple of seconds, and it was over. With everyone exhausted, the ritual can start. The 4 catalysts: Ishtar, goddess of the heavenly world; Peach, princess of the Mushroom Kingdom; Lolo, priestess in training in the Sky Temple; and finally, the last one, someone deeply connected to more than one person in the room. This is the moment in which, retrospectively, if you stand still for a second and think about the situation, you may have one particular question in your mind. One question very important for the game. Where is Shizuka? She's right here. She never died in the incident caused by Doraemon. She was necessary for this. And now, it is done. The merge shall begin. No one can stop this, and no one will. And then, it was dark. We're inside of the thoughts of Nobita. Nobita is having hallucinations. He's talking to himself, to the different sides of himself, the parts which complete him, and he is able to remember various events of his life. The countless times he got punished in school, the wholesome meetings with Shizuka, the one person who was always able to put a smile on his face. And then, of the times in which Doraemon didn't want to talk. Until that day. The fire was burning, people were screaming, the city was collapsing. There was nothing Nobita could do, except running around, searching for his friends, try to check if they weren't hurt. After finding Shizuka in the park, the first thought he had was to search for Doraemon. If only he knew. If only he knew. There is one more Nobita which wants to talk to him. The vengeful Nobita, the violent one, the darkness that fills his heart. Absolute cinema. This is the two sides of the same coin fighting each other. It's Nobita trying to come to terms with what he really wants. Do you understand now why I was so hyped to see these battles? Imagine having all of these without context, not being able to understand anything, just seeing two Nobitas fighting each other in what appears to be like outer space or light speed. I don't even know what to say! And he finally understands what he really wants. What he's trying to do. Nobita does not want revenge. Nobita wants to protect the others. And Doraemon too. With this realization, he unleashes the Supreme Sword of Light. I don't even know what's going on anymore, but it's so cool! And asserts his dominance on his dark side. Now he will be the one in control. He is gonna be the master of his own destiny. And be careful, this does not mean the dark part is gone. It's impossible to just cancel a part of yourself forever. It just means he is accepting that part of himself without allowing it to take over. He has a dark side like everyone in the world. That's part of being human. What matters is how you decide to manage that dark side. And Nobita finally understood it. He is able to make everyone escape with the power of the golden seed he stole previously, and promises one day to save Doraemon, no matter what. The party escapes. But honestly, for Doraemon it doesn't really matter, because Project Neos Entry can finally start. The worlds are merged. What will happen now? Helios is ruling the world. Will our heroes be able to stop the menace? Will Nobita have a final confrontation with Doraemon? What's gonna happen to Shizuka? And the others? With all these questions, let's jump into the next episode. I lied. There is no next episode. The game was discontinued after that. Okay, to be fair, it's not exactly after that. There is a small section in the new world where you control Nobita and are with Bruce, and I really love their relationship, by the way, because I was really tempted to see how would Nobita react with Bruce. Bruce got to know Nobita from Jan and Suneo. I want to know really how is their chemistry, you know, their dynamic through the world. But it's not so long. We get to recruit Mega Man, but it's not so long, and it doesn't even deserve a character introduction. New character. No. Stop it, everyone knows Mega Man, come on. If you don't know Mega Man, you're a stupid idiot. Now, I don't know the precise reasons which made the developer decide to not continue the game, at least for now, but I think I have a theory. There is another game some of you may know from the developer, which got censored, which got cut off, which got copyrighted in the past. I am not gonna mention the game, I'm just gonna say it's centered around the Resident Evil style or something similar, okay? Maybe that could be the case. After that, maybe the developer just got scared of another possible censor on Nobita Senki ACE and decided to drop everything, which is very fair and possible, honestly. I would do the same, honestly. So yeah, unfortunately, we will never know what's gonna happen with Nobita, Doraemon, the Deruaga Demon, the time gap, if they're gonna be able to stop Project Neos Entry or not. Or maybe someone is working on a sequel? But in any case, for today's video, I want to end with a final comment on the game. I honestly don't believe it's an incredible game in terms of story, like, it's pretty generic if you think about it. It's basically Final Fantasy V all over again. What's really special is the interactions between the characters. Guys, I wasn't able to play Namco x Capcom, but I'm getting really tempted to try it after this. And in general, Nobita Senki ACE made me realize how many games I was missing, with how many characters I probably would enjoy. Like, first of all, I think I would watch the animated series of Gundam now, because Shin Asuka was mwah. The game even contains some great ideas. The RTP world is pure magic. This developer has some great ideas in storage. The majority of the ideas of the game are taken from other games, that's true. But you also need a good brain to be able to assemble them all together without creating just pure chaos, you know? What I'm trying to say is, the game works. The characters are likable. I loved this experience. And so, after all this time, I can finally put an end to another mystery of my childhood. And I want to know, did you know about this game? Did you ever play it? Did you ever know anything about it? Did you ever see any gameplay of it? Well, let me know in the comments. And if you liked the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, that's gonna help me a lot. But for today, I was Rapolo94. God, this video is gonna require like 30 hours to be edited. And I will see you next time. Mezawari!